there is one belief. If our president today said something, they will live up. Yeah. They will pursue it. They will go after it. They will,
and there's
they will hold it.
And accountability is there.
Accountability is there.
Oh.
大家先认识一下扎西亚，他曾2度担任蒙古国总理及总统。作为哈佛背景的资深政治家，他不仅带领蒙古经历了转型，更是在中俄2大国夹缝中练就了极其敏锐且务实的地缘政治直觉。在这段深度访谈中，扎西亚展现了极度清醒的国际视野。他直言不讳地指出，蒙古在处理对华关系时，最深刻的体会就是中国在政治上的言出必行与重守承诺。在他看来，中国不仅是大邻居，更是一个在战略决策上具有高度连续性和可预测性的国家。话不多说，让我们进入访谈。
How do you think Mongolia has been able to survive peacefully, being sandwiched by two giants that have completely different ideologies from your democratic, system?
Thank you. One thing now we learned when you are, some people they ask that I usually say that, we used to exist next to each other for centuries.
Yes.
I may say for millennia.
Yes.
Because of Mongolia, because of us, maybe Chinese built that Great Wall, which extends for 6,000 kilometers, something like that. Chinese Great Wall. Because of us, Russia was in 14th century, very small and, fractured principalities. Russia united as a big land empire. And means that after that, we found out that Mongolia became a small country. And we have our own interest. And after one time in the 20th century, Mongolia became the satellite country of the Soviet Union, right. Tried to copy other country, but it was, maybe that was a necessary way. I think, I don't blame that, right. But I blame something there happened. We lost, for example, 1 of 7 adult men were killed during the Stalinist purge. That's the big massacre. And that was not good way. But in 1990, there were the kind of soul searching, purpose searching, how we survive. We never choose our neighbors. We're gonna be circled by these 2 countries. And my assumption, as one of the leaders in that movement, democratic movement, I told to my people, we should be different. Means that we should have different political system. Through that, we will connect with the rest of the world. That will give us, essence and lifeline to survive. And because of that, our way of life is very different. Our philosophy of our development is very different. If in China, center is powerful, right. Then country gonna be stable and more prosperous. Maybe Russia, same thing. But in Mongolia, if our people are powerful, if you guys have more right, you're gonna be more creative. Then Mongolia gonna be more creative. Every day, every morning as a president, I see, there is new enterprise. There is new restaurants in town. There is new, new things, new business opening. That's great. We need to give to people more. But now we see that backslide,
In your view, the average Mongolian has the conviction that nothing bad is going to happen at the borders with Russia and China.
Yes.
Right.
One thing we managed to do that with China, with Russia, every inch of our border, there is no claim from Russia or China. That settled down in that market, and every inch our border is registered. Right. And we signed bilaterally with Russia, bilateral agreement with China. This inch, this
well-defined.
Well-defined, and that is registered in UN.
If we talk to most people in Southeast Asia, we recognize our rich history with China in the last 2,000 years. And if there would have been any military confrontation, the Chinese would argue that it was during the Mongol dynasty, the Yuan dynasty.
Yuan dynasty,
right?
Kublai Han, Kublai Han dynasty. Yeah.
And, you know, we've seen skirmishes in Sumatra during the, you know, the 12th and 13th centuries. To that extent, there is this intuition that we could have peace and stability with China, because now that China, they have consolidated their ethnicity, right? They're mostly Han now, right? There shouldn't be any reason for war and whatever with China. However, when we talk to our American friends, they keep asserting that there's this hegemonic tendency of the Chinese. I'm curious as to what your perspective is with regards to this two differing views, you know,
I think
about China.
China has that red line policy, for example, inside their country, for their people, for their enterprises, for their economy, capitalist economy, for their entrepreneurs. They have one red line policy. If you accept Chinese Communist Party monopoly, you can do anything. If you don't harm that thing, you know, Chinese Communist Party is main party, ruling party, policy making, decision making. If you not compete with that, you can do what you want. That's the inside of China. Outside of China, if you not harm Chinese interest, they call it core interest, you can be good neighbors. You can be can have good relations. In China, there is one belief. If our president today said something, they will live up. Yeah. They will pursue it. They will go after it. They will.
And there's
they will hold it.
And accountability is there.
Accountability is there.
Oh.
I think one of the main belief, one of the main thing why this Chinese Communist Party, this rule, this kind of the political system is so kind of formidable. I think that's the thing. If they say, they do. And most of the people believe. That's very important when it comes to your country's relations.
You know, we're seeing a decline of multilateralism. The role of multilateral institutions seems to be declining by way of the global order having become much more multipolar. You were talking about peace earlier, very passionately, which I embrace. But if we take a look at the defense budgets of the world, they just keep increasing. At the moment, if you sum up the defense budgets of all countries around the world, we're talking about $2.75 trillion. I've asked this question to someone else before. The UN only has a budget of around $3 to $4 billion. How do you expect a multilateral institution to help bring about peace when everybody collectively spends $2.75 trillion a year?
Did you try to this question yourself to answer?
It's almost impossible, right? To bring about eternal peace when everybody's just outspending the other militarily.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, humans and all those leaders have 2, 3, maybe many sides, maybe main two sides. One is craziness, you know, one is more militarized, one is more to look kind of the powerful person on their positions. Every man, every leader has little bit of that. Little bit of Genghis Khan, little bit of that military ambition. Of course, yeah. I think now also they have to And now in their stature, and they are thinking about their legacies. Of course, when you are president, you think about everyday business, what you should accomplish, and sometimes you think about your legacy. It's sometimes better to think about from the end. When I leave my office last day, how will look like my country? World today suffering from three big things. One is American complacency. Second is Chinese expansion. Third is Russian intervention or Russian, aggression.
Right.
Yeah. And they need to, these three countries, if you are a big country, you have a big responsibility. Big power means big responsibility. And you have to think about that. Politics is, really is business like in Mongolia we call it on the thin ice,
Yeah.
You are walking on the thin ice.
No.
Yeah. Also Mongolia in terms of the geopolitics, we have to toy the ice. When you are on the menu, bear and dragon, you are freedom-loving pony. Every day, every morning on the menu, you have to think about that.